Hey, yo, what's the deal? This your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag. You know what I'm saying? As of this recording, it is 4:32 p.m. You know what I mean? This video is going to go up more than likely about 8 o'clock. I mean, nobody watches TNA. I mean, AEW. I mean, nobody watches it. You know, y'all see two motherfuckers on fire escapes. Hold on real quick. As I'm recording this video, I see two people on fire escapes. Okay, they're just cleaning. You know what I mean? They're just cleaning. They're just fixing up, apartments and stuff because where I'm at, they're fixing up apartments and shit. You know what I mean? I for those that don't know, I live in Ingersoll I live in Ingersoll houses, which is 4 greenhouses. You know what I mean? And which is basically NYCHA turned over to an organization called PACT. You know what I mean? And shit's crazy, man. But people scared to come here. I love Brooklyn. I'm Brooklyn till I die. You know what I'm saying? I'm BK all day till I die. But this is not about me. It's definitely not about me. This is actually about the topic at hand. It is about WWE's relationship with TNA, which is continuing. Because the Endeavor deal, right? And like I mentioned earlier in my earlier video, Masha Slamovich was seen on NXT television, right? She's the current TNA's knockout champion, right? And so, we see her, we seen her in the crowd, we seen her in Cora Jade had, as stare down shit. So it prompted me to put out what the tweet that I put out, right? And trust me, I'm not snapping for the picture. Nah, I'll say what I said, which is, WWE is basically going to court Masha Slamovich and steal her away from TNA, just like they did with Jordynne Grace from TNA-D, aka Total Nonstop Action Developmental, because that's basically what TNA is to WWE now. You know what I mean? It's an unofficial developmental territory, right? And so, Masha Slamovich, I expect Masha Slamovich to wrestle in NXT PLEs. You know what I mean? I'm expecting it. Because again, WWE and TNA are both in and I'm going to say it's a permanent relationship. It's a permanent relationship, and someone said it best, like they work together when the time is right and when it makes sense. And it does make fucking sense, Like I said, TNA is basically going to be viewed as, WWE is basically like they are more than in bed with each other. You know what I'm saying? And especially when they want footage and everything else. I'm expecting footage of Penta, to get a background on who he is through AEW footage. AEW footage. Fuck that. Through TNA footage. Someone says something. I want to go back to the Penta thing. Then I'm going to, talk about Masha Slamovich, right? So someone said that, WWE quote unquote fears AEW because when they was talking about Penta, they mentioned, they mentioned AAA and they mentioned Lucha Underground and they mentioned TNA, but they didn't mention AEW. They don't got to mention AEW. AEW is beneath WWE. They're beneath them. You know what I mean? They're beneath them. They are beneath WWE. They're beneath WWE. You know what I'm saying? AEW is like, they're so far down at this point that it doesn't make sense. And you know what? We've seen this too. Like, remember the Cody AJ feud from last year, right? And remember when Cody was talking when AJ was talking to Cody, and when Cody mentioned New Japan Pro Wrestling, and when he also mentioned Ring of Honor, right? That right there tells you how far down AEW is. AEW is so far beneath WWE that it's laughable. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense for them to even consider, mentioning AEW. But let me move away from that, right? So Masha Slamovich, they're going to do the exact same thing, to Masha Slamovich that they did with Jordynne Grace, right? Because remember, they paraded Jordynne Grace and they showcased Jordynne Grace all through 2024 last year, right? And, she was, she wrestled in a lot of NXT shows and a lot of NXT PLEs and such, right? And so I'm expecting the same thing to happen with Masha Slamovich, right? And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So basically, she's now officially in the pipeline to go through, to go from NXT to the main roster, right? Because with Jordynne Grace, it doesn't make sense for Jordynne Grace to go back to NXT if she was just in NXT, through the TNA partnership. So it doesn't make sense. So they could say that she went through the NXT partnership. She could say that. Now, I mean, like, they could say that. Same thing with Joe Hendry. I'm expecting Joe Hendry to be on the WWE main roster this year. I'm expecting it. I mean, I didn't hear any conversations about Joe Hendry going to the Royal Rumble and shit like that. But just because you don't hear shit, it doesn't mean that you don't feel shit. You know what I'm saying? And I can see the same thing happening with Masha Slamovich, right? Like, look at Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander's last indie date is February the 15th. You know what I mean? He's definitely WWE bound. I mean, if you can't see it, then you're one dumb fuck. You know what I mean? Because why the fuck would he stop doing indies? Why the fuck would he stop doing indies if he wasn't going to WWE? Doesn't make sense. If he was going to AEW, he would still do indies. But Masha Slamovich, that's apparently Jordynne Grace's best friend. But listen, like, she can do wonders, down at NXT. She could work on her craft in NXT. And there's definitely going to be a lot of back and forth. There's clearly going to be some back and forth. Now, here is the question. So, again, this is January. As of this recording is January 15th, right? Here's the deal. So, Masha Slamovich now is in the road pipeline to wind up, eventually going to WWE, right? On a full basis, right? Now, I don't know when her contract is up with TNA. I don't know, but I'm expecting her to be in TNA for a good while, and then possibly by 2026, bam, she goes, she goes right to WWE on the main roster, right? I think because if this is the case, then they're going to lose it to WWE. And the way how they booked Jordynne Grace last year, they're going to book Masha Slamovich even better. And I said this last year, and I still stick by my guns with what I'm about to say, right? If they're going to lose Masha Slamovich, or if they need compensation for Jordynne Grace, because again, you need to balance shit out. Right? Because who is Masha Slamovich gonna, who's gonna be her counterpart in TNA? There's nobody really there. I mean, not Rosemary, not Tasha Steele. I mean, there's got to be one person there, and there's none. But there's one person out there, and I said this last year, and I'm gonna say this again and again and a fucking again. Megan Bayne is your girl. Megan Bayne is your fucking girl. I don't know how to fuck. It's criminal right now that Megan Bayne is still a free agent right now working in the indies. It's fucking criminal. It's criminal. And same thing what I said about Gabe Kidd. I don't think WWE should sign them yet. Especially if you got talent right now that you're trying to develop. But Megan Bayne, and she can still do WWE. She can still do it through the TNA partnership. She can still do it. You know what I'm saying? It's criminal. How the fuck TNA don't see that? But I also heard that TNA is cheaping it up. They're cheaping it up. Like, they're not paying people, and that's why people are leaving. You know what I mean? But like I said, Masha Slamovich, WWE is going to steal eventually from TNA-D. TNA-D. Total Nonstop Action Developmental. That's basically what it is. TNA is an unofficial developmental system for WWE. It's just bottom fucking line. You know, and I know the TNA fans ain't gonna like it, but they know deep down inside it's fucking true. And they're just as worse as AEW fans because they're also delusional. But they're also a little bit ungrateful too. You know what I'm saying? But I'm about to be out, guys. You know what I mean? Because I definitely will make a video tonight for sure. You know? Because nobody's going to watch AEW. Nobody's going to watch that shit. All right? So I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.